Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here today to talk to you about some of the miracle stories that are happening right here in our own city, in our own state, every day. My name is Tony Kausha, and the title of our show is Tony's 50,000 Coincidence Miracles. Please note, this show is not about religion, and we're not trying to change anyone's religion, and we're not trying to get you to join any religion. It's just about miracle stories. I don't know of any religion on the planet that doesn't talk about miracles. That's why religions begin, because they have something that's telling them there's really a God. But we're not going to get into that. We're going to just talk about miracles and leave the decisions about all that up to you. So we don't care what religion you are. We just want to talk about miracles. If you are an atheist, I think you'll enjoy the program as well, although I can't guarantee you'll remain an atheist very long after you hear many convincing stories, coincidence kinds of stories about miracles. You can email me your own stories if you wish. We'll try to use all we can on the show. I can't guarantee we will, depending on volume and time, but you're welcome to send your stories on to us, and we will mention them when we can. You can send them to the following email address. But please notice that if we do use your story, we won't mention your name. We'll keep you anonymous. And we suggest that in your story, when you send it to us, don't use your correct name. That way anyone listening will not be able to figure out that it was you that sent the story in. The email address you can send your stories to is very easy to remember. It consists of 2 words and 3 numbers. The first word is Tony, spelled Tony, and the second word is and, spelled A-N-D, and the numbers are 777. So once again, the name is Tony and 777 at AOL.com. Well, let us begin. This is week number 36, and I want to remind everybody again to reach for a pencil and paper because you may have to jot some things down. And I would remind you that all of our radio shows are on a podcast where you can listen to them at any time, and you just need to Google the following address. You can listen to any of the weekly shows anytime you wish. And if you forget the following web address, you can just email me and ask for it. So the web address is wcatradio.com/miracles/ one more time, wcatradio.com/miracles/ or email me at tonyand777@aol.com. Okay, so let me just share some of the miracles happening in my life, and hopefully some of you will relate to them. And if you're not already getting miracles every day in your life, or I should say noticing them, because we're all getting them, but some of us don't notice them. So if you're not noticing your miracles every day in your life, I'm hoping my sharing will help you to notice similar things happening to you, and then you'll have the same joy I have spotting these miracles every day. So the one I'd like to share with you first is a few days ago I had a dream, and I very rarely have dreams, or if I'm having them, I don't wake up and remember them. So I typically fall asleep, everything's black, and I wake up refreshed. And I think the dreams can probably exhaust me. But I had a dream. I was having a dream about one of my clients was having a terrible problem with their business, and they needed help. And I woke up really concerned about them, so I decided to check with them early that morning to see if I could be helpful to them. I rarely get the dreams, as I was mentioning to you, and I noticed that in the scriptures, St. Joseph is noted for always following his dreams. So I guess in St. Joseph's case, he probably noticed when he was very, very young that the dreams were becoming realities when he woke up during the day, or in some way he learned that his dreams were really God talking to him. And that's a wonderful blessing. And I know I've met many people who do have dreams like that, and they follow the dreams that they get, like St. Joseph did. So I would say if you're getting dreams, ask God to show you how you can be convinced that he's really talking to you in the dreams. In other words, ask him for some clues or some signs, and you'll find that people in the Bible did this when God was talking to them and they were afraid maybe it was not God, that maybe it was the devil talking to them. They would do a thing called fleecing, and I'll tell you where that is in the Bible, although if you read our books, we carefully explain this to you in our books. But if you want a quick picture of it, just read in the Bible, in the book of Judges, chapter 6, you'll see General Gideon doing a fleece to make sure he was hearing God. Okay, so as I said, I was concerned, and I was going to call my client and see what was going on, if I could be helpful to them. And later that morning, when I picked up the phone to call them, just as I picked up the phone, I got an email from them. They were sharing with me something that had happened in their business. And so that's a miracle I'm sharing with you, a coincidence miracle of I had a dream, a problem at my client's office. I got up, pick up the phone, and start to dial. And while I'm doing that, I got them calling me to tell me about their problems. So all of that is a sign that God is talking to you when you get all these coincidences. And again, I hasten to add, if you're new at this and you want to be sure that God is really talking to you and it's not the devil that's talking to you, then please do read Judges chapter 6, or please do read our first book, Tony's 50,000 Coincidence Miracles, because you want to make sure you're listening to God when God is talking to you and not hearing other voices. My next miracle story has to do with a particular day where I was inspired to go down to a Connecticut beach at the seaside and pass out some cards about my books and my lectures and do some evangelizing, help people understand about the book and know that the book is available to them. And for those of you who don't know, my books help people to see how easy it is to have conversations with God all day long. And again, you can Google that by the website or email me, and I'll send you some information about all that. But the miracle was started by me being inspired to go down to the beach, pass out some cards to people at the boardwalks, and talk about the books that I was inspired to write. And the weather forecast was good, and I left at the time I was inspired to leave. And sure enough, as I pulled up on the highway, the main highway, which is the start of something like a 45-minute drive, a car with a license plate number 777 was coming along. As I came up the top of the ramp and entered the highway, this car passed me at 65 miles an hour, which means I was greeted and met by a number 777. And as you all may know, that's the number indicating the presence and the participation of God. So I was very much inspired at the beginning of this trip that God was with me as I started my trip. I had to stop for some gas on the way down, however, so I stopped at a gas station, and I was inspired again while I was pumping gas. A woman was in the at the pump next to me, on the other side of me, and she was pumping gas. And I was inspired to just go over for a moment and hand her a card. And so I did that. And after she finished pumping gas, she came over to ask me about it. And she started asking me a lot of questions like, do you really have conversations with God? And how do you know it's really God? And so I told her what's in my books, the highlights of it. And she was fascinated by it. So we talked for about 15 minutes. She asked a lot of great questions, and I convinced her that it was all possible. And I told her if she wanted proof, my books cite the scriptures, the Bible passages, where it indicates in the Bible that we can have conversations with God. And all of the other proofs you've been hearing about in the last 35 weeks, you've been hearing about all the proofs too. And so that was done, and she pulled away, and as I started getting to my car, a woman approached me in tears. She said, "Excuse me, but I got to the gas station here, and I find out that I'm out of gas, and here's my car, and I forgot my pocketbook at home, and I don't have any cash with me, and I have to get my daughter. She's ill. I came from home to pick up my daughter, and I just need $5 just to get enough gas to get to my daughter, and I'm sure she'll help me out once I get there. So please, sir, I'm so embarrassed, and I I need the money so badly. Can I just ask you for $5? And she was going on, very embarrassed, and she was well dressed. She had a very expensive car. She was obviously crying and very sad, or she was an extremely good actress. And so for $5, my heart, I asked Jesus what to do, and in my heart I was inspired, certainly do give her the $5. So I gave her the $5, and I gave her a card. I told her about my book, and so she also spent about 10 minutes talking to me about, really, is it true you can have conversations with God? And I gave her some evidence. And so this whole stopping for gas turned out to be an amazing event for me. In total, I had spent about a half an hour pumping gas and talking to two women about God, and they went away blessed. I could tell you they were totally inspired and blessed. So sometimes when you just do what God is telling you to do, your day becomes a marvelous day just by that fact alone. Well, eventually I got to the beach, the seashore, and when I got there, however, it had started to rain, and it was raining pretty hard. So while it was raining, I figured, well, God wanted me I must have gotten here too early, because I saw the sign, the 3 sevens on the way down that showed me I was supposed to be coming here, and I got so blessed at the gas station, so I was feeling like confident. I was supposed to be here. So I drove around the beach, looked at some of the sights while it was raining, and it took about an hour, and then I got inspired, and I heard the forecast. It was going to be raining longer, so unfortunately I had to leave. So I left, but I was saddened on the way home, thinking about how could I misread God? I mean, I was so sure he wanted me to come down here, and I spent the time coming down. I can't believe I've got so many other things to do. I can't believe he'd want me to waste my time doing this. And I wasn't really a happy camper driving back home. And after this long drive back home, it's like 45 minutes on a major highway and 15 minutes on some other tributaries. I get to the final exit of the highway, and as I'm pulling off, I'm just about ready to pull off the ramp, a car passes me, and I see its license plate just as I'm going off the ramp, and its license plate number was 777. And you might recall at the beginning of this trip, I saw 3 sevens greeting me on the beginning, and now I'm having 3 sevens greeting me on the way off. And I was inspired at that moment. Jesus put in my heart and said, Tony, I didn't really want you to have to go to the beach today. I really wanted you to get to that gas station to talk to those two ladies. And as unbelievable as that may seem, it was a very successful thing that happened at the gas station, Tony. Then later that day, I got a call from a friend of mine who was having a lot of stress that day, trying to make some decisions. And they spent about a half an hour telling me about the things they were trying to work on. They certainly were stressed. They were asking me for advice. And so I prayed about it. I got inspired to tell them to do what I did today, ask God what to do, ask him and do what he wants you to do. And you can ask for fleeces if you need to. Ask, like Judges chapter 6 tells you to ask for fleeces. And I was inspired then to, before I gave them an answer, check the Bible at random. So I opened the Bible at random, and sure enough, I opened to Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 22, Jeremiah chapter 33, verse 3, and Jeremiah 23, verse 35. And all of those say, ask me what to do, and I will tell you what to do. Precisely what God is trying to say to all of us. Ask God what to do. Use Judges chapter 6 to confirm when you need a sign or a clue, and God will bless you. All right, I hope you have a good week. I will talk to you again next week, and let us keep each other in our prayers, because the more we pray for each other, the more we will be inspired to do his will. Thank you, and I'll talk to you next week.